What's up, everybody? This is Lyle with No Hippie Barbecue. It is allergy season. Let me tell you, it's getting me right now. Anyway, I'm going to be doing some ribs today, and they're going to be based off of a concept that I saw on a cooking channel called Cooking with Honey. She came up with the pineapple sweet honey sticky barbecue rib type deal. I don't know what she named it. I'll put a link to that video or her channel in this iCard above and the description below. I'm not going to be copying her recipe, but I am going to be taking certain elements of her recipe and making this my own. So why don't you guys come in and take a look at the ribs I'm using, and then we'll get cooking. Her video, she used an entirely different rub and everything that I'm going to be using for this first portion of this. So I've already done the backside, but what I'm going to be doing is using Siracha sauce as a binder, and I'm going to go pretty heavy on that. And my seasoning is just going to be simple. Up front, it's just going to be salt, white pepper, and garlic. And our sweetness is going to come a little bit down the road, so there's no reason for me to have all that on here right now up front. So there is our sriracha. I'm going to go ahead and just hit it with a thin layer of this homemade, just basic rub. And then I already have the smoker started up. We'll get out there in a minute. Once it's on the smoker, we're going to go ahead and make our sauce that is going to kind of give this that Asian flair. Anyway, we're done with this. This is going to sit for about 20 minutes, then we'll head out to the smoker. This is our setup in this Weber Smokey Mountain. I have just regular charcoal briquettes with a few pecan chunks. I am going to be running with some water on this cook in the water pan. I do have probably more coals than I need just for this one slab of ribs, but I do have some chicken I'm probably going to throw on there as well, so I wanted to make sure I had enough. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put this Weber Smokey Mountain together, get it cleaned up, and then get these ribs out here. We're going to run this at about, should be able to get it to about 290, 300 degrees on these. I'm going to go for just a couple hours before we even check them. We're not going to be spraying them down or doing anything like that. Let's just go ahead and get this lid on. See you back in a bit. Let's start whipping this sauce together. I'm going to kind of name off these ingredients as we go. But first I have a can of crushed pineapples, which is going to be too much for just this rack of ribs. But I'm going to go ahead and freeze this stuff and use it for later. So we got that. I have some ground ginger, and that is about 4 tablespoons of that. I have 3 garlic cloves, and this is going to be soy sauce. We're going to just kind of eyeball it, but I'm going to assume that's going to be about 4 tablespoons, and this is just the beginning. So I'm going to get all this stuff in here, then we're going to kind of reduce it and then kind of taste it down the road to make sure that we're on the right path as far as flavor goes. Now, not a lot of people have that, but sweet soy sauce, we're going to go ahead and add some of that. And that's going to be about 4 tablespoons. You could use rice wine vinegar or rice vinegar. I don't have any of that, but I do like this pomegranate infused red wine vinegar. And I'm going to add about 4 tablespoons of that. And a half a cup of brown sugar. Now what I'm going to do, it looks like I want to thin it out a little bit more, so I'm going to start off, I'm going to add some more soy sauce. Now we're just going to get this on the stove and cook it down a little bit. This down a little bit. This sauce, I'm going to go ahead and add some barbecue sauce to it now. I just wanted to make sure that I had a good base flavor before I went ahead and added anything else to it. So now that we got that in, just going to stir it, and this is going to be our sauce. I'm going to let it cook down for about another 20 minutes, and that should be the consistency that I'm looking for to go on these ribs. So this is what we're looking like right now. These have been on the smoker for about 3 hours. A little bit less than what I wanted to do as far as temperature. I was about 245 on it, but that should be good to go. have some brown sugar laid down. I'm going to go ahead and hit it with some squeezed butter. Some honey. And then I want these really sticky, so I'm going to go ahead and add some of this glaze that we made earlier to this side. And then I'm going to flip it over and add the sauce to this back side. Then we're going to wrap it up, get it back on the smoker for about another couple hours, and take a look at it. And if it's cooked to the tenderness I want, we'll just go ahead and start eating. I drained the liquid out of the tin foil that was in. I'm going to go ahead and add some sriracha to it. Give that a good stir. Now actually what I'm going to do with this, once I'm done with this cook, is I'm going to go ahead and add this liquid to the rest of that sauce we made earlier for future use. So anyway, now I'm just going to glaze them up real quick. And these are going to go back for about, I'm going to go about another 30 minutes on these. Unwrapped. So these just came off the smoker for about 35 minutes. Now I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to just hit it with a little bit of honey on there. And these were not the best cut ribs in the world. Maybe that's why they were on sale. Anyway, so we got that. I'm going to go ahead and hit it with some green onions. And then we will be cutting this up here. I'm going to let them rest for a little while, let that stuff kind of stick on. We'll cut them up, see what they taste like. And this is what they look like, all kind of sliced up and ready to eat. The only thing left to do now is to go ahead and taste it. That sauce was incredible. I'm glad I saved some of that for later. The ribs were kind of cut a little bit funny, but you know, taste like ribs and everything like that. I just would have preferred them to be a little bit better cut. But outside of that, the sauce is great. I'd like to thank Cooking with Honey for giving me the idea for this recipe. If you haven't tried this sauce or any version of it, you gotta try that. I'm serious, you will love it. Anyway, thanks for stopping by No Hippie BBQ. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.